Thank you for checking out the First and Framesrates podcast. I am your host, VF Baller. You can always find this podcast on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and you can also catch the RSS feed so you can put it into your favorite podcast app. You always find me on Twitter at VF Baller, where you can get all the information about this podcast. And I hope you guys enjoy your day and enjoy the show. All right, what's going on, everybody? This is episode 40 of the First and Framesrates podcast. Today is going to be myself and another person. It's not my normal co-host today. They're out doing other things. Once again, they may be a little busy. I know one works, the other one has other priorities, and that's fine. It's all good, but the show must go on, and I have another guest with me. He's been on the podcast before. It's been a while since he's been on. But today we're going to pretty much talk about some NFL. We're going to talk about some of these trades in the NFL. We're going to talk about some of these college games. And overall, just a crazy week of the NFL season. I think this was, week 7, Pooh?
Yes.
All right, it's week number 7. And like I said, I have a guest with me. His name is Pooh. You can find him on all sorts of areas of social media. And I want you to go ahead and give out your intro and let everybody know what's going on with you and where they can find you.
All right. What is up, everybody? I'm Pooh. I'll make it quick. If y'all want to find me, you can find me on Twitter, Spec-Pooh Eagles. You can find me on Twitch, Spectacular Pooh 2414, stream from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., then come back at 8 p.m., end at 12 a.m. I play Monster Hunter. I've been doing playing some Metal Gear, playing Battlefield 4, plenty of other good stuff for what I'm in the mood of playing. So, yeah, I'm here on this podcast today to talk some football.
Yeah, definitely. I think that pretty much this time of year, a lot of things going on, and it's actually pretty interesting compared to the other ones, other seasons, because like with the trade deadline coming up and there are a lot of moves that are going on. I think they pushed the trade deadline back a week or so, so now you see more teams actually trying to make some moves. And if you are hearing in the background, if it's a slight echo, please forgive me. I'm still doing a little bit of setup in here to get everything right for the podcast. Even though this is episode 40, I'm still doing renovation as far as getting everything set up for this whole podcast. So if so, I do apologize, but hopefully you guys stick around and enjoy the content. But like I said, a lot of things going on with the trades and stuff. We'll get into that. Also, the World Series has started. You have the Dodgers and the Red Sox. Be quite honest, me or Pooh, we talked before the podcast started. We're not necessarily interested in the World Series. So just giving you an idea of what's going on with that. I think the Red Sox are going to pull it out. I'm pretty sure Pooh could care less. But there's not much to talk about there. Also, college football has been going on as well, and there was a few upsets in college football. We're going to touch on all of that as well. And finally, we're probably going to touch into a little bit of gaming because I know in my last podcast I was not able to get into the gaming aspect of it. But there's not much going on with that, but we'll touch on a few things like with Red Dead Redemption and with that's about to be released, and possibly a few more other things that interest us. But first and foremost, you're an Eagles fan, right, Pooh?
That is correct.
I'm a Falcons fan, and both of our teams are 3-4 at the moment. And I think your team still has the opportunity to right the ship and easily become an above 500 club. And for my Falcons, I think it's just going to rely on the play of Matt Ryan, because we have lost at least 4 people due to injury, and it's showing. I mean, we're last in defense. Matt Ryan is playing out of his mind, but at the end of the day, if he doesn't continue to play at this level, we could easily possibly lose at least all of our games except for 1 or 2. Your team doesn't necessarily have any issues on their end. On your end, from what I see, is just basic execution.
Actually, we do have some injury issues, but I'll get into that right after that.
Oh, okay, that's fine, and definitely because you know your team better than I do. But like I said, from what I've seen when y'all playing the Panthers, it just looked like just things need to be executed a little bit tighter, and just not giving up a lot of giving up plays at the end. But like I said, we can start with your Eagles because the Eagles gave up a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter to lose the Carolina Panthers. And while we're on this, while we're on that, you can go ahead and talk about what happened to your team, and then I'll rebuttal and give my take as well.
Well, oh man, where do I even start? I mean, it's like I'll just start on the offensive side of the ball because that's been the most shaky outside of defense. I mean, defense has been holding up here and there, but for offense, there's really no excuse for this. How can you sit up there and score 17 points and then you don't score at all, like in the second half period?
I mean,
that's crazy.
I could tell you based on the stats and what I saw. Basically, it just looks like the y'all guys have a problem running the ball because if you can run the ball, you can control the clock. And, with, your leading rusher only getting 32 yards, that doesn't help matters in the fourth quarter.
Exactly. And this is where the injury issues are really going to start with the Eagles. I mean, we lost Ajayi for the year. He was supposed to be our workhorse. We lost him for a torn ACL. Darren Sproles literally has not played since week 1. I don't know if anybody caught on to that or not.
I'm actually surprised y'all still have him because I know he's a weapon, but he's not the weapon that he used to be. And for all intents and purposes, even if he came back, I'm not sure if he would have been the same. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's an excellent football player, but time catches up with you at the end of the day.
Exactly. There's that. I mean, Jason Peters, he's on and off because of injury. Wendell Smallwood, I don't know why to this day, I will never understand why the hell do the Eagles bring him back despite him not being a very good running back. They have him there. I mean, Corey Clement, the way how I see it is he should be getting more touches because he's shown that, he could be a possible number 1 running back in this league, and apparently Doug Peterson don't trust him. But the way how I see it is the Eagles should have never let go of LeGarrette Blount in the first place.
I can believe that. I'm with you on that.
Got caused this because the minute we let him go, and then the minute Ajayi got hurt, we can't run the ball all of a sudden. Carson Wentz is going like 30 of 37. He's been doing nothing but passing ever since he came back.
I mean, rightfully so. I mean, you got to think
running backs having a 2.4 yards per carry. That's not good either.
I mean, you got to think about it. You just answered your question. That's why he's been throwing the ball is because you're only running for 2.7 yards a carry. I mean, you got to be up at least a 4.2, 4.5 yards a carry to have a balanced offense. I mean, I mean, this whole situation is not Carson Wentz's fault. Absolutely not.
It's really not. It's really not. And Eagles fans, or better yet, some Eagles fans sitting up there putting blame on Carson Wentz, be like, well, he should have had that game-winning drive. I'll give you that to an extent because he should have seen Wendell Smallwood wide open on the flats. But at the same time, it should have never came to that anyway. It didn't come to that last year, not did it, when the Eagles was just straight up blowing people out by 20-plus more points. It should have never came to that problem.
Right.
And then you got, I'm not even going to talk, I'll talk enough on the offense as it is because there's so much with it. It's like, I feel like that's the main problem that they should address is running back. If it's not going to be through trade, it needs to be through the offseason eventually. Sooner or later, they have to address it. I think especially since they're not bringing Jay Ajayi back anyway.
Yeah, I think you're better off is like actually trying to go through the draft and get him because I know you guys have a good bit of draft picks and y'all are severe. Y'all got really good cap space, but exactly. I just think I don't see a running back out there right now outside of Le'Veon Bell, in which that clock is ticking on him to actually be able to play for the rest of the season. Exactly. Outside of that, I don't see anyone else that you can actually say like, you can jump up and get him. Like honestly, if right about now, if Freeman was playing, if Devontae Freeman was playing,
Tevin Coleman would be an Eagle.
That's what I'll say because at first he had injury issues, but like those like went away all of a sudden because ever since the game that he played against y'all in the playoff game, he's been spot on. I mean, every time he touches the ball, he's been getting 5-6 yards, a touch. I'm not gonna say a carry because he does catch out the backfield as well, but I mean, outside of that, I don't see another running back to go out and get right now while trade talks are going on. So, I mean, this might be a situation where you might have to just stick out with what you have. And I can't say that. I'm not going to say that your running backs can't do it because they are talented, but they just have to do it. You know, that's the only way I can see where you have a more of a balanced offense. Anything else you want to take away from this loss, or you look at the rest of your schedule and where do you see you guys going from here?
There's more to it that I do want to take away from the loss because apparently it feels like
keep going. You're good.
Because it feels like the Eagles haven't learned. I mean, this wasn't the first time this happened where the Eagles just straight up blew it. This was against the Titans.
Yeah,
Eagles
that's
sat
true.
up there. They blew a 10-point lead against the Titans. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, basically the same type of game.
Exactly. It's like, these offenses should have no business sitting up there, marching all the way down the field, scoring more points than us like that. There's no way. But, the only way, as I can explain, is the offense is not the way how they used to be. On top of that, play calling has been suspect at best because of the running game. I mean, you got Doug Pearson having no choice but to call these screen plays. You have Carson Wentz forcing these passes and stuff. It's crazy. But it's not entirely most of it's on offense, but I do have to get at defense as well. Jim Schwartz will never fucking learn. I'm like, God, I can see why you didn't have a job before Doug Pearson say, okay, we're going to hire Jim Schwartz. Why do you have these cornerbacks sitting up there playing 10 to 15 yards off? Oh, it's supposed to be for not giving up the deep pass, but you give up the deep pass anyway.
So I mean, but which DB you have that is a man-to-man corner? Because I mean, you know better than I do, so I don't know.
Both Darby and Mills are supposed to be man-to-man corners, but Jim Schwartz is using them wrong. Hell, Sidney Jones that we picked up in the 2016 draft, he's a man-to-man corner, and we're still using them wrong. How you get what you're looking for, but you're misusing them on the field. You're constantly having them play 10 to 15 yards off. And then when you actually do press, apparently that don't work either. So it's like, what can you do here? I mean, Jim Schwartz, you put yourself in this position.
Well, I mean,
he's literally benefiting. I hate to cut you off. He's literally benefiting off of our defensive line. That's all he can do is benefit off of our defensive line.
I mean, I can see where the blame could be thrown around to the defense. I mean, the defensive backs, because there's been various times where I've seen where the defensive back just seem like they're out of position, they're not doing their job, or they're just in the bad position to give up plays. It's not really similar to what we seen last year. It's
not, bro. Dude, Eagles gave up a 4th and 15 against the Titans.
Right. Yeah,
and then they gave up a 4th and 10. Wasn't kind of, I wouldn't say by passing, but they gave up a 4th and 10 when Cam Newton sat up there and ran for that first down. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I mean,
bro, this the kind of shit you can do on Madden and get away with it.
Yeah, you can do it on pretty much any game if you know what you're doing.
Like,
that's a different story. But I mean, I don't know. I like when you look at the rest of your schedule. I mean, you got the Jaguars, you got the Cowboys, you got the Saints, Giants, Redskins again. You play the Cowboys and Redskins twice. You got to play the Giants again. I mean, you don't have an easy schedule. I don't know where to go from here because it's hard to really predict your team. I don't know them better than you do. So where do you see you guys going from there?
Oh, that is such a good question because I don't even know myself. But this is how I could put it right here. The Eagles better win against the Jaguars because the Jaguars are just as much of a problem as we are.
Yeah,
do not
true.
sit up there and let Blake Bortles, who has been shitty,
I think he may not even
300 yards up there. Yeah, you say that.
He may not even play. He may not even play. He's been benched last week. He may not even play.
He will. He will to an extent. But I'll tell you this right now. You sit up there. You let that man throw for 300. Eagles fans on Twitter are gonna go fucking crazy in the most worst way possible.
I don't think he'll throw for 300. I honestly.
Hell,
that game's gonna be played in London. I could say it's possibly a toss up, but I can see you guys winning that one.
We better win that game.
Well, I can see y'all winning that one. I should have. But down the road it's hard to say. Games happen from week to week. You never know what's actually going to happen when you're playing. When you watch the NFL, one team could look hot one week, they could look sorry the next week. But if you take it from a game by game basis, I can see where you'd be like, okay, they need to win this game, and that's actually, I think it's a winnable game. The only reason why I say it's a toss-up because you're playing in London, and things could be a little tricky when you play out there because you don't know how the body's going to react. Players play differently. Besides, you don't know what kind of defense is going to show up on either team. So it could be a toss-up, but I'm leaning towards the Eagles.
Yeah, I hope so too, because I'll tell you what, every time the Jags take their ass to London, they play like they're the New England Patriots. like that's why that's why I'm worried. That's why I'm like, yo, you better fucking come out of that game and you better win. But it's like all of a sudden Jacksonville's like that's their second home, bro. That's their second home.
Okay.
And then you got the Cowboys coming up.
You
got the Cowboys coming up.
Why are you worrying about them? But we'll talk about them later because they just made a blockbuster. Well, I can say blockbuster. They made a pretty decent trade for something they really need, but. As of right now, I don't think y'all have nothing to worry about when it comes to the Cowboys. Anyway, we're going to jump over here to my Atlanta Falcons. They're 3-4 as well. They won their last two. They won against the Giants 23-20. The Giants end up, they had a couple
garbage time, which they had no business doing.
Yeah, they had garbage time points, which I get it. I mean, things happen when you're desperately trying to score, and with a defense like the Atlanta right now, I understand why it happened. As far as the stats go, Matt Ryan is playing out of his mind. I mean, the dude is playing very well. Right at the last game, he had 31 for 39, 379, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. And something that you may not know, the last 18 throws were completions. He completed 18 straight passes for his last throws in that game. The guy's putting up MVP type numbers. That is like the only shining spot about the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not even gonna go far with this team right now because there's not much to say. I'm just happy that they did win, but at the end of the day, I don't see nothing else coming from these Atlanta Falcons right now. There's nothing else to really say about it. I'm glad that they won, but from what I see is basically just Matt Ryan is basically playing to keep these guys in games or whatever the case may be. You look at the last few games. The only game I did not like was that game that they lost against Pittsburgh Steelers. That game was a rout. I mean, they lost 41-17. They got beat up. All the other games were pretty much close. They ended up down to the last wire. They lost to the Eagles. They beat the Panthers. They went down to the last wire against the Saints and the Bengals. And they got blown up by the Steelers. And they won their last two. It's a bye week. It's cool to get the fall back. Then they got to play the Redskins and the Browns. They're going to the Redskins. It's going to be a tough game because the Redskins playing pretty good defense. But at the end of the day, it's all. I feel that it's all about what the Redskins going to do on offense because I don't care what defense you have up against the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons will be able to move the ball. But if the Redskins playing good offense, it's going to either be a shootout, and it's probably going to be where the Redskins going to top them, just like how the Saints beat the Falcons and the Bengals beat the Falcons. Both games came in either in overtime or the last play in the fourth quarter. So, like I said, like both of us said, one game at a time. I think the Falcons could possibly lose this one if the defense don't step up. But I don't think there's any defense in the NFL right now that can stop what Matt Ryan's doing. I'm highly impressed at what he's doing. He's basically putting up the same numbers that he did the year that he won the MVP, and you just need other people to step up on defense, and we'll just see where that goes. I don't have anything else on that. Do you have anything you want to add, or you got anything you want to ask about the Falcons or whatever?
Well, it's really, there isn't much I can say that you haven't really addressed on the Falcons. I mean, I just hope that somehow they just get their defense together. That's all I can pretty much say for your team because right now it's still looking more like it's the Saints to run with. I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, the Saints are looking good. They really are. But I was just looking at what happened with the Saints playing the Falcons, and I'm like, well, the Saints barely pulled it out against the Falcons. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same way again once they play each other. There's always that way. They've always been close games. The Saints are getting a little bit better. They got Eli Apple, which, so-so. He just got torched by Julio Jones earlier in the last game. So it doesn't really matter. They added him. Like I said, just so-so. But it looks like the Saints are going to run away with this division easily. We also have to worry about the Panthers. We did beat the Panthers, but the Panthers they're always formidable. At the end of the day, I think the NFC South is a very good division, and you never know who may come out of it. I mean, everything's basically week by week. Obviously, the Saints is on fire right now, but you never know. Especially, I think by the time that we play the Saints, Deion Jones will be back, so that helps a lot. But like I said, you never know. So just like I said, one game at a time, and we're gonna see what the Redskins do, and we'll just go from there. Mm-hmm. All right, let's look at some other things that happen in the NFL. You still have the Rams undefeated right now. The Rams look like world beaters right now. They look good. They look unstoppable. You also have the Kansas City Chiefs. They're looking good as well.
That leads to my question. When the fuck are we going to see Chiefs versus Rams? Because you can't tell me that isn't a box office game for everyone to look at.
I agree. And I'll be honest, I don't even think they play this year.
Oh,
I don't think they play against each other this year.
Yo, if they meet in the Super Bowl, either Kansas City or New England, however that's gonna go, I tell you what, I could see two good games coming up for the playoffs if this continues like the way how it's going. You're gonna have Patriots versus Kansas City again, which is a good game.
Yeah, I could see them coming out late in the playoffs. Yeah,
and you're gonna have the Saints versus the Rams. However you put it, right now those two teams, they're gonna light shit up come playoff time. I'm telling you, if they see each other. So I really can't wait to see what's gonna happen from there. I mean, like, outside of those.
Wait a minute. Stop right there.
Huh?
The Rams do play the Chiefs.
They do?
The Rams play the Chiefs week 11.
Oh my god.
That's going to be a great game.
Is that a Sunday night game?
Yeah, that is a Sunday night game.
Oh my god.
I mean, let's think about it. Even if it wasn't a Sunday night game, they'll flex that one.
They will flex that.
They will flex it to be a Sunday night game. Also, the Rams play the Saints as well. The Rams play the Saints in November 4th.
Oh shit! November.
Matter of fact, they're playing in New Orleans for that one, and the Chiefs have to go to LA for that one.
Hey, yo, Turkey Month, y'all, get ready. You're gonna have good football and good food on deck for that.
Oh yeah. Those are gonna be two really good games. That's gonna tell you everything you need to know, like who's gonna be where in the playoffs, because the Saints could easily beat the Rams just because the Rams are playing in New Orleans. And that's a tough place to play. And but it could go the other way around because the Rams are a pretty good team. Also, that Chiefs and Rams, I find that game to be more compelling. I find that game to be more, I think that'd be more entertaining than the Saints game, because even though the Saints have a high-powered offense, they don't necessarily have the best defense in the world. And
which is why you got this Patrick Peterson stuff coming up right now. But then again, they went up there and they trade for Eli Apple.
Yeah. They don't even have a first-round pick, so they won't be able to get Patrick Peterson. But what I'm saying is, if the Rams get up on the Saints early or anytime in that game, it's not going to be really entertaining until like probably mid to late fourth quarter, because Drew Brees is going to do what he do. But at the end of but also on the flip side of that, the Rams defense is actually pretty good. So the Saints need to keep this close. So
I don't know about that. I feel like Rams defense for me is kind of average in a way, because let's be honest, they could have lost against a few teams earlier in the year, but they just happened to pull it out due to offense.
You got to think about who they played. They played the Chargers and the Vikings, and they played the Seahawks. They played the Seahawks at Seattle. They played the Broncos. I'm actually surprised the Broncos kept it as close as they did. And on the flip side of that, the Broncos had a pretty decent running game too. They had a power running game. But the only reason why I say that, if they can get pressure on Drew Brees, which even if you do, it's Drew Brees. It's not, he's still going to make plays. But I'm looking at this game to be possibly something like how it was when the Saints played the Buccaneers in the beginning of the season, where the Buccaneers just ran the score up on the Saints.
Yep.
I could see where it could be a situation like that. And if it's like that, I mean, it's just not going to be entertaining until like the mid to late fourth quarter because Drew Brees is going to do what he do, just try to get the team back in the game. But that Chiefs and Rams game, that's going to be the game that's like it's balanced on both sides. So I think from beginning to end, that game is going to be just entertaining all the way out. You got
I
two
agree.
good
That's
teams.
a future Super Bowl game, bro.
Right, two good teams, two good quarterbacks, two good teams with running games. You know, I think the Chiefs' defense is somewhat suspect, but I don't think their defense is bad as the Saints. So I mean, so I think that's going to be the better game overall. So I think right now to come up early, I think those two teams are still the best looking teams right now as far as Kansas City and the Rams. I don't see any other team that actually like jumps out at me right now. New England is always doing what they do. Like I say, New Orleans is winning games. Washington is actually surprisingly looking good as well. But you know,
you say that. I feel like, to be honest, just me personally, like on the NFC rival kind of things, they're looking good, but it feels like with them they're a bit inconsistent. And I'm sure DJ himself would even agree on this case. I mean, there'd be one game where they'll look like okay, they look very good, and then there'll be another game where they'll just they'll barely be able to win the game, or they'll just actually end up losing the game.
I could believe it. As an entire team, the team itself, I can totally agree with that because
I mean, hell, DJ himself got mad at the play calling against Dallas, and they came out and won the game. So it's like that kind of says enough.
I mean, if you also think about that, it's not like the Redskins won that game because they won the game. I mean, they basically won that game because the field goal kicker missed the field goal. So yeah. It's not like, the Redskins, and then they beat the Panthers as well. But when you look at their losses,
same thing with the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When you look at these losses, these are some bad losses. I mean, they got blown out by the Saints, and they also got blown out by the Colts. They didn't get blown out by the Colts, but they lost to the Colts. And the only reason why I say they're looking good because their defense is actually pretty decent for the past couple games. So if they could keep that up going forward, I don't see where it'll be a big issue with them to continue to have success. Now, they're playing the Giants next, which is almost like a gimme. I'm not really worried about that game. Saquon Barkley is going to break a few runs. He's going to look good, but I don't think they're going to beat the Redskins. And they play the Falcons after that, which is that game is going to be another one where it's just going to be on Matt Ryan, like I talked about earlier. So that's going to be pretty interesting if you look at a few teams that are actually looking good right now. Mm-hmm. Now let's flip to some of these some of these things that made headlines earlier. As far as trades, I don't really have nothing to say about Eli Apple. I don't have nothing to say about Snacks going to the Lions.
Same.
It just seems like they're trying to clean house on the back end for the Giants, which, like you said earlier, it looks like they could be rebuilding. It's possible. I don't believe they're rebuilding completely until they get rid of Eli Manning. Once they do that, that's what I know for sure. You can't rebuild when you have a quarterback that old and can't do what he do. So it's yet to be seen, but anyone can make a compelling case. Now, let's look at this trade that everybody's talking about with this with the Raiders and the Cowboys. And we're going to talk about the Raiders extensively on this one. Mm-hmm. First round pick goes to the Raiders, and Amari Cooper goes to Dallas. Dallas has been needing a number one receiver, which I still don't understand, for the life of me, why they didn't bring back Des Bryant. But, I mean, we all know, we kind of know why, but, I mean, I don't know, whatever. Cause, I mean, he can't get no separation. He can't catch the ball, but, I mean, it's like, still, I mean, you need a number one, but they gave up a number one draft pick for it, for a number one receiver. So, this is what we're dealing with. And John Gruden on the back end has 5 first-round picks for the next 2 years?
Yo.
So it's let's talk about the Cowboys first. What do you think about this move?
They got desperate. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They got desperate. Look, VF, you literally just said it. I mean, like you should have brought back Des Bryant. You should have brought back Des Bryant.
I can see the
there's
pros.
There's nothing else I can really say on this.
I can see the pros and cons why you don't bring back Des Bryant, because at the time he was not catching the ball. He can't get separation. But at the same time, if you just tweak a few things, I think they would have still been somewhat successful with them. But
the only thing they're really going to get with Amari Cooper is just, probably just separation. Because other than that, I'm hearing this from Raiders fans, he can't catch worth of shit either.
I think
so. It's like, you can't sit up there and tell me that all of a sudden you're going to give a first-round pick to the Raiders just to get Amari Cooper, who you think can be very, very good in your system and who can salvage what you got going on with your wide receiving core when he can't even catch himself. The Raiders tried to give him a chance.
I think the problem with Amari Cooper is he's almost a mimic image of Des Bryant, in my opinion. I think he's a better route runner, though. As far as him catching the ball, he needs to get back in good graces, because it's not like he can't catch. It just seems like he's not catching. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically with Amari Cooper, it just seemed like he's just wildly inconsistent.
And they got to re-sign him too.
I don't know.
Gave a first-round pick for that dude.
Yeah, I was saying I don't know his contract issue. I don't know if he's going to be re-signed at the end of the year or next year. I don't know, but the way I look at it is like it's an upgrade from what they have. It may be a slight upgrade from Des Bryant because he's younger, but I think you can say where it's possibly that they got desperate. I can see that. But on the flip side of that, there's been rumblings to saying that they was going to try to get a receiver anyway with that first-round pick, and there's no good receivers that they see in the first round for Dallas for them to pick in the upcoming draft, so that's what they did that. Now, mind you, he's only 24 years old. He had the case of the drops for the past year or so, but he's been a Pro Bowler twice. I think he had 1 year we had like 1,500 yards or something like that. I don't know for certain, but he could put up numbers. So the thing about it is he needs to put up those numbers, and I'm not even going to say that Amari Cooper is going to be the issue. The main issue is Dak Prescott. He has no excuses at this point to be a better quarterback. So with that being said,
he didn't have excuses the minute they let go of Des Bryant.
Well, he shouldn't have had no excuses at all to begin with. I mean, he's a decent quarterback, but let's not sit here and act like everything's cool. He hasn't been the best since his rookie season. I mean, this last game, I think he did okay.
And even then, the rookie season for me personally is not even on him. It's on his running back.
Oh, that's true.
His running back had a better year than him. His running back should have won Rookie of the Year. I can't even debate anymore.
Hold on, wait a minute.
They're seeing it clear as day.
Wait a minute.
For me personally.
Wait a minute. Who won the Rookie of the Year that year?
Dak won.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, what? All right, whatever. That was some foolery. But anyway, his last game against Washington, he did not play bad. 22 of 35, 273, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. I think overall he played okay. Matter of fact, let me look at his stats, his overall stats for this year. I think, let's see. No, his stats aren't the best. I don't like them.
Oh God!
I don't like his stats. It's 128 for 206. He's only completing 62% of his passes. He's averaging 200 yards a game, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's mediocre at best as far as with the quarterback driven league right now. But I don't know. I don't see that.
That's why I'm like, look, you gave your first round pick to Amari Cooper, who you think can save your offense. You can't. Your quarterback can't even give him the ball. Like how your quarterback couldn't get Des Bryant the ball.
All right, they're saying right now that Amari Cooper is hurt right now.
Oh.
Yeah, he has an injured neck right now, so no telling when he's going to be coming back.
All I know is everybody in the NFC is just sitting back laughing.
And this is another thing. He's somewhat inconsistent. You look at these games that he's played. He had 10 catches for 116 versus Denver, and the next game he had 2 for 17. Then after that, he has against Cleveland, he has 8 for 128. And then when he played against the LA Chargers, he had 1 for 10. So it's not like he can't produce. It's just he's really inconsistent right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now he's got 22 catches for 280, 1 touchdown. I don't know how bad his injury is, but I think he's gonna be all right. I don't think Amari Cooper is a bad player. I think he's gonna be in a pretty good situation to where I think him and Dak has plenty of time to get on the same page, and hopefully Dallas could be a pretty decent team. So you guys can actually have something to talk about because right about now it's somewhat of a one-sided rivalry between you and y'all and the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Literally. I mean, like, shit, man. Like, we didn't have much to talk about with them the minute we just. I mean, like, I'll let David Akers say what he had to say when it went to that draft. I mean, and then seeing who we picked up.
That was funny, though.
I mean, like, enough was said on that.
No, I mean, that's
and
good.
Then you got this with the trade.
I mean, that's good stuff. That's good stuff that would happen in that draft when he came out there and said what he said. That was funny.
I mean, shit. If anything, that was karma. I mean, then y'all sit up there and in the draft in Philly, and then you had Drew Pearson say what he had to say to us, and we had to take that and like we had to take it. No, well, look what happened next year.
But, I mean, you got to think about it, though. I mean, that's what happens when you have a good rivalry. I mean, when you want to have moments like that where you can go back and forth and talk trash, I mean, the team has to be somewhat good. I mean, like, look at the Falcons and the Saints. I mean, we talk trash back and forth forever. I mean, it just don't stop. Now, the Saints always want to throw that up in our face that, they won a Super Bowl, we lost our Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, when those two teams get on the field, it's good football, it's good trash talk, it's good rivalry. And I love the fact that the Saints are actually pretty good and the Falcons are good as well because it's always going to be a good matchup. I mean, that's what you would want in a rivalry. I mean, you just look at the Seattle Seahawks, for instance. No, I mean, I'm sorry. Look at the Ravens and the Steelers, for instance. I mean, they always have a good game. I mean, both teams are always fairly good, and there's always a good matchup. You always want that. So, I mean, it's good to have. You always want your rivalry team to be the best because after that, if you don't have that, I mean, you can't talk shit. And if you can't talk shit, it's not as fun. It's not as sweet as it is when you do get that victory. So, I mean, that's the way I look at it.
I mean, we're seeing this clear as day right now. I mean, you just mentioned a great rivalry. How about one that's basically a shitty rivalry at this point? I mean, Eagles and Giants couldn't go any more worse than that. I mean, I don't know if you saw the all-time record for this. Literally, the Giants have not beat us really beat us like that since I don't know what 2009, 2008.
Yeah, I mean,
other than that, they've been taking nothing but L's. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks after a while. I mean, I'm not saying root for your rival, but you want your rival to be the best because when you beat them, it just feels much better. It's like, you bought your A game and you still got your ass handed to you. It's always good when it's like that, So it's always a good time. But speaking of the flip side of this trade, since we kind of got off the rails, look at the Oakland Raiders. I keep saying that. I keep pausing when I say their name. The Oakland Raiders. Look at them right now. I mean, John Gruden. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm starting to think that this dude might be onto something.
VF, you're low-key scared of the Raiders. You're low-key scared of the Raiders. I was just saying, you're low-key scared of the Raiders. Just gonna pronounce their name.
I don't know what it is because I keep trying to go back and not call them the LA Raiders, and I keep trying not to call them the Oakland Raiders. Then I'm trying not to call them the Las Vegas Raiders.
Which you're about to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when I think about their name, it's like I don't know which one to say because I'm trying to think ahead.
Yeah, but just call them the Raiders.
Yeah, just the Raiders. The Raiders look like they're basically they look like they're looking towards the future. I think with all these draft picks that they have now, they're getting rid of a lot of players from back what they had before John Gruden got there. I honestly think that John Gruden is onto this thing that he's trying to change the identity of the Raiders for when they go to Las Vegas. They're just going to have a new identity. And I would not be surprised if Derek Carr be the next one on the chopping block to go. And they move him out as well. What are your thoughts about John Gruden basically gutting his team?
I mean, the way how John Gruden sees it is not his players. I mean, and here's another thing in how I see it is, okay, you're not a guy that I picked up. You're not a guy that I wanted, but at the same time, you probably fit my scheme. So all you got to do is just stick with the scheme, get down with it. If not, your ass is gone. I mean, we see that with Khalil Mack. We might see that with Derek Carr pretty soon.
I mean,
We've seen it with Amari Cooper.
You just saw it Amari Cooper. That's what I'm saying.
We saw it with Obi, what is it, Melifonwu. He's gone.
Yep, he's gone too.
He's supposed to be a good prospect. He's gone. Carl Joseph, he might be gone. You know, the way how Gruden is trying to build that team right now, I mean, that 1 year that the Raiders have, it might be a fluke at this point. Because it's like, you know,
well, is it really
since that one good year?
I'm about to ask, is it really a fluke, or is just that he's just gutting the team because there's just not his players? I think they had everything in place, but when the new coach come in, a new coach tends to do stuff like this where they just move players that is not fitting his mold. They just move them out.
I mean, that could be the case.
Because I think it's a dumb move. I think Amari Cooper, okay, I can kind of see where you're going at because, you know, he's a little inconsistent or whatever. Derek Carr, I can see that as well because he hasn't been the same since his injury. But when you get rid of somebody like Khalil Mack and you try to blame it on money or whatever, something isn't right. That right there, I get it. Like I said, he might be doing something. He might be trying to build something for when he goes to Las Vegas. But from what I'm looking at, it's like that's a once-in-a-lifetime player. I can see when people are like, no, you don't do that.
Yeah, but I can also see it like this. I can see it another way as this. Okay, if you pay Khalil Mack this kind of money, who else can you pay to bring into your team so you can try to compete? That's where, like, okay, I actually see this both ways.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The Raiders might not have enough cap space to give to other players because of Khalil Mack's contract.
I agree. See, that's what I was saying once Amari Cooper was moved. Once he got moved, and I started to think, I was like, well, what is he actually trying to do? He might be on to something. So, for me, I sat back and looked at it, and I thought about it, that Las Vegas is in the picture. They're going to be moving to Las Vegas. They might want to change the entire identity. And all these players who was brought up in the last few years or so, he might just move them out, stockpile his draft pick so he can get a new face of the franchise, get a new identity, or whatever. And it kind of explains why he has a 10-year contract.
Yeah,
it may make sense. Now, will it be successful? I don't know because Coach Gruden's always had this stigma about him that he'll make a decent team okay. But the flip side of that is that Super Bowl you won, it was with Tony Dungy's players. So it's not like he's technically he's the Super Bowl winning coach. But we already know what time it was when he brought that team to the Super Bowl. We knew we knew who players were. Those were Tony Dungy guys. You know, those were what's his name? That's the coach for the Steelers.
Right now?
Yeah, the coach of Steelers right now.
Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, that was a Mike Tomlin boy, because Mike Tomlin was on that staff. I think he was on that staff. I think he was. I'm pretty sure.
Bill Cowher?
No, Bill Cowher was the coach of the Steelers. I'm talking about Mike Tomlin was one of Tony Dungy's understudies. I think he was on that staff. I think he was on that staff. Yeah, I think he was on that staff that year. I could be wrong. I mean, I know people probably people will probably look at me and be like, you're wrong, but I think he was. But yeah, so that's like, Gruden, whatever. I don't know what to say about it. It is what it is. We'll see in a couple of years because it looks like that's clearly the direction that they're going. They're going, like,
and with this upcoming draft, he got the picks to get it. And tell you what, this upcoming draft, from what I've known so far, it's kind of defense heavy. From what I've known, I mean, you got Ed Oliver, who's basically one of the main guys to talk about from that draft. And of course, you got some running backs. Who knows if Oakland might be going after running back? You got some solid running backs like Benny Snow.
They may need to go after one because
honestly, the Eagles need to go after his ass because it's clear we miss fucking LeGarrette Blunt.
And
never let his ass go.
And Marshawn Lynch is getting, he's banged up a little bit, but he's not getting younger.
Yeah, he's not. And on top of that, he's not going to be there anyway the minute they move to Las Vegas. So, I mean, very soon they got to get ready to cut ties on him.
All right. All right, so let's flip off of the NFL. Let's talk about some NCAA. Let's talk about some college football. I've been putting college football on the back burner for a while. And Well, we're going to get into it. We had some upsets that happened. Let's talk about this first one, man. Ohio State.
Got to be talking about.
Ohio State loses to Purdue. And they didn't just,
ladies and gentlemen.
Purdue, ladies and gentlemen, Purdue. And it wasn't just a loss. I mean, they got basically out-coached that game.
They got waxed. Yeah. Bro, I'm pissed I missed that game. I only saw highlights of it in the end part of the game. I'm like, God damn.
I watched every bit of that game. And I was just sitting there just looking like these kids from Purdue, they started to believe that they could play with Ohio State. And once that happened, it was on. Those guys was running through tackles. They were getting open. The run game was working as far as the blocking. What was it? The quarterback for Purdue, he had some confidence. I mean, these guys came through and they honestly felt that they could play against these guys. And it was a beautiful thing to see. I watched every bit of it.
Bro, how's Purdue? Purdue better be ranked after that game. They deserved to be ranked after that game.
They may not be ranked because they already lost 3 games. So they may. I don't think. Matter of fact, they're not. They're not ranked.
That's a damn shame.
I mean, I get it. I mean,
you
started off 0-3. You won your last 4. That's impressive. But I mean, you already lost 3 games. It's very hard to be ranked when you have other teams that are above you with less losses. But I'm just looking at this game in general. I mean, you had the quarterback Blow. Blow is 25 for 43, threw for 378, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. The running back Knox, he ran for 16 rushes for 128, 8 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. You also had their receiver Moore. Moore had 12 receptions for 170 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, these guys played lights out against Ohio State. I mean, they basically tried to do everything they could to continue to keep the foot on Ohio State's neck, and they did a damn good job.
Yep.
I mean,
you had the juggler out.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Ohio State. Their quarterback threw 73 times in that game.
Bruh.
That is extremely high for any game.
And people see now. I get it's a passing league, and
no, the NFL is a passing league. You don't do this in college. That's way too much.
But on a certain extent, I still get it, even on a college aspect. But at the same time, this is what happens when you don't have a balanced running. We don't have a balanced offense.
But that's what I'm saying. They had to throw the ball. I mean, you look at their running game. Weber had 9 for 45. Dobbins had 11 for 24. The Haskins had 5 for 7. I mean, they weren't running the ball. I mean, there's nothing they could do about that. So, I mean, with that being said, it was just, okay, we're going to do what we do, and you guys got to catch up. And when they decided, and when they figured out that Ohio State could not catch up, Purdue just kept putting it on them. I mean, it was a great game. I watched the entire game. It was a damn good game, especially in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, I mean, the floodgates just came out, and I mean, Purdue scored 28. Yeah, they scored 28 in the fourth quarter. It's nothing Ohio State could have done. And Ohio State drops down to number 11th in the country now. I mean, it was...
I don't even know if they even deserved that, to be quite honest with you. But then again, they did win 7 straight, but it was like, oh my God.
I mean,
after that ass whooping they put on you?
I agree. The way
you sure?
I think that Ohio State should be in the 20s.
At least
in the 20s. Now, if Purdue played Ohio State at Ohio State, they should have been knocked all the way out.
All the way. So, I mean, you have that. What other games we had that was upset? We got what's this? We got Washington State beating Oregon.
Yeah, Washington State beating Oregon. Washington State has always been like this up and down team that we don't know what's gonna happen with them or who they're gonna get. The past few seasons they've just been so weird is about what they're gonna do, but the fact that they beat Oregon in 20-34. Washington State moves up to 14th in the rankings, and that is a really big jump. That's a real big jump.
They got a lot of pressure on them, right along with Kentucky, man. A lot of pressure.
I
Kentucky, UCF, Washington State. Those are 3 teams that you normally don't see be this good. They have a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, and I mean, and Washington State plays Stanford at Stanford this Saturday, so that's going to be a really tough game for Washington. I mean, they played Oregon, but they were at home. This time they have to go to Stanford, and it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how that goes. Cause I don't watch Washington State that much, but every time I look up and see they're doing something that's out of the norm that actually has me like, whoa, okay, Washington State did this, Washington State did that. So I'm gonna be actually watching that from a distance. I'm gonna see how they do against them because the Pac-12 could be pretty much turned on their heads if
I agree.
they continue to have this success. Now, a team that's not too far from you is Temple, and because you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Temple beat who was Cincinnati?
Yep.
They
Let
beat
me look
them.
at Cincinnati's record.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, Cincinnati was ranked, and that was a pretty good upset.
Temple's 5-3, so they might actually get some consideration.
Yeah, Cincinnati was like I said, Cincinnati won against number 20th ranked Cincinnati, which was another pretty good win. They're 5-3 right now. I wonder what they look like in their conference. They're second in the conference, so on the east side of the conference. So if they keep it up, they can make some noise, but they got a tough game in front of them. Because they got to play UCF next at UCF.
Temple?
Yeah, Temple has to play UCF.
That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah,
If Temple played like they did against Cincinnati, that would definitely be a good game.
It'll be a good game, but UCF is absolutely no slouch. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, considering you're number 10 in the country?
Right.
And they undefeated?
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. So, another team that I want to talk about before we finish out in college, I mean, you look at Michigan. Michigan is starting to get some legs up under them. And ever since that first loss they had against Notre Dame, I think it was the first loss of the season, they lost against Notre Dame 24-17. They've just been playing very good football. The defense is playing pretty good. They haven't been allowing many points. And they just beat Michigan State. But they do play Penn State next, and that's going to be a pretty good game. Right now, Michigan is at number 5 in the country. They break the top 5, and it's going to be really interesting to see if Jim Harbaugh can continue to push this team to the heights that they thought that Michigan should have been a long time ago, ever since he walked into the door. What are your thoughts about Michigan? Do you have any, or you want to just say keep it simple?
No, not really. Not really. I mean, how they've been playing. All I can really say about them is that they're just playing some really, really good ball. I mean, you knew that it was gonna come eventually. The minute Harbaugh stepped in, that they was gonna be playing some solid ball. It was just a matter of when.
Yeah, exactly. I think Michigan was playing pretty good ball this entire time. Honestly, I just think the problem with Michigan, they just couldn't win those big games. Now, they got a few big games coming up. They got to play Penn State. They still have to play Ohio State, which right now, that Ohio State game looks very winnable right now.
I'm going to let you know right now with that. You said that Penn State was kind of a big one. I don't know about that because Penn State be barely beating some of these teams. It's like, why are you ranked?
Well,
seriously.
That is true. That is true because they barely beat Indiana. And on top of that, Penn State has to come to Michigan.
Yeah. Trace McSorley better be ready to put his big boy pants on.
Yeah, they got to come to Michigan because playing in Michigan is pretty intimidating. So that's gonna be good. That game is gonna be played on November 3rd.
It intimidates me, and I'm looking through my TV screen.
So that's gonna be a pretty big game. So but first, but listen, Penn State has another obstacle in front of them before they even get to Michigan.
Oh.
Penn State has to play Iowa next week.
Oh, shit.
and Iowa is playing pretty good, So, even though they're playing at Penn State, Iowa's 6-1, and they're number 18th in the country. Penn State's number 17, but still, that's going to be another pretty decent game.
You can kill them if you want. Look, Iowa, they always play good ball, but it feels like for me they never know how to finish.
Well, not only that, Iowa's the opposite. They play good ball, but they're the ones that are actually surprised and beat you up if you don't watch them.
Right.
So that's gonna be another good game to watch. So I think all in all, college football is catching up, starting to be really good, compelling games coming up. Good bit of upsets, pretty good football. You also have the NFL. Definitely has some good football up there, and it's just going to be interesting to see how things going to go week in and week out.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball season just started. I don't really care for it right now. I'm looking at the Bulls. That's my team. They look pretty decent. Baseball, the World Series going on, whatever with that. So
Yeah,
that's
Sixers is I don't really care about them all too much. I mean, they're on right now for facing the Bucks, but it's like really at the end of the day, it's like why should I really care considering y'all motherfuckers still cannot sit up there and beat the Celtics?
my thing. I just need to look at is just. I think those two sports, as far as baseball and basketball, don't get me wrong, basketball is much more compelling, but it's still early in the season, so to me, there's nothing to talk about. In baseball, I love baseball, but it's just like
Mhm.
every time I look at it, I'm like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. At the end of the day, I just love this game of football. Football
I
is just
agree.
so awesome. I
Agreed.
mean, hell, I'm not even going to talk about this. I'm gonna just make this a mini podcast. But my Georgia Southern Eagles right now are 6-1. They're bowl eligible. They play number 25 App State, and if they win that game, man, if they win that game, that's going to be something special. I would love to see my Georgia Southern Eagles be in the conversation of being ranked in the top 25. This team has come so far, been a big time, 1AA FCS powerhouse to come into the FBS and start to make noise.
Hey
I
man, go
will,
Birds. Go
yeah,
Birds.
yeah. That was saying. I mean, this kid, Shaw Works. I mean, I'm not even gonna get into it. I just love the fact that he's finally throwing the ball. This is sophomore year. He didn't throw the ball at all last year, and it pissed me off because they could have won that game that I went to. I went to the game when they played Georgia State. They could have won that game, but he acted like he could not throw the ball. Throughout the offseason, he's clearly been working on it because he's been throwing the ball very well. And the statement game, if they win App State, that'll make a statement on to the legacy that continues the ongoing legacy of traditional football in Statesboro, Georgia. I love my team. I went to the school. I mean, you just have to be there. I mean, it breeds football there. So just a little tidbit. If they can win that game, that'd be fantastic. They're playing in Georgia Southern, in Statesboro. I would love to go to that game, but the tickets are already sold out before I even got to the bomb, so I won't be able to go. But
You'll probably be crying if they win.
well, I'm not gonna lie, man. Listen, man, when they won the GoDaddy.com bowl, they won their first bowl game the first year they won their first bowl game when they came into the FBS. I mean, that right there was a big accomplishment. I almost cried that day. But I mean, if they can, pull it off and become ranked, because there's a possibility that they can be ranked after this game. It'll be something amazing in my opinion. I would love to see that.
Well, you just might.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, but anyway, let's talk about a little bit of video games before we close this out.
Yep.
You said you picked up Black Ops 4. I mean, I haven't talked about it much. I think it's a pretty good game.
I rented it.
Oh yeah, you said you rented it. What are your thoughts about Black Ops 4 and what do you think about it?
I didn't like it.
You really didn't?
No, I didn't like it.
I'm the total opposite, man.
I mean, like for me, it just felt like every time I was playing, it was off. I mean, I made a whole thread about it on Twitter about how I really felt about it, where I felt like every time when I was in a gunfight with someone that I wasn't truly in control of where my bullets would go.
Well, I can agree with that. I think the hit detection on that game is terrible. But I mean, I think it's a good game. I think it's a fun game. But got to think about both of us. I mean, we both had our live stream with Battlefield 4. If you're coming from Battlefield, I mean, there's a really good chance you're not going to like this game. There's nowhere else around it. But I think it's a fun game. But I'm thinking about it based on the past Call of Duties. I think this is a more enjoyable Call of Duty compared to the other ones. Because the other ones, the past like 3 or 4 has been trash. So that's the reason why I think I like it, because I know it is what it is, and I think it's okay for Call of Duty standards. As far as a shooter, no, I don't think it's a pretty good game as far as compared to the other shooters. Because like I said, for one, the hit detection is crazy.
Way too crazy. It's like, bro, what the fuck? There's times where I feel like, yo, I'm hit you in the head, and instead it really tells me hit him in the shoulder or hit him in the chest. It's like, I don't got time for this bullshit. So the first thing I did was like literally right after I played it, I just uninstalled it on the PS4, went back and just gave the shit right back to Redbox. I'm like, here, you can go and have it. You lucky you took $7 from me. Because I read it for like 3 nights, and like I took it back all in one night. I'm like, the fuck.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I never had intentions to buy the game. My nephew, he loves Call of Duty, and I bought it for him, so we basically game share on PS4. And I just happened. I'm like, well, since I got it, I might as well go ahead and just play it and see what's up. And I ended up finding out I was playing it for a few hours. I was like, yo, this game is actually pretty decent. So, I don't think it's a good game by video game. Well, I ain't gonna say video game by first-person shooter standards. I still think it's a weird Call of Duty type of shooter, but I think it's a good game compared to the other Call of Duties. If that makes sense.
Yeah. There's that, and there's that we just got finished with Call of Duty. I really do want to talk about, Red Dead Redemption, man. I mean, there's so much hype going around with that game. Honestly, I'm not too surprised considering how much hours the devs put into that game.
I'm not surprised at that.
I mean, look, I would ask everybody this: name one game Rockstar made that you consider bad.
Exactly. I mean
you can't.
If you want to talk about, you go all the way back to the PS2 days. You want to talk about Smuggler's Run, or you want to talk about the first Midnight Club or something like that. I mean, compared to all of that, I mean, those are good games, but compared to everything else that they have, that's like their lower tier stuff, and those are still good games.
That's what I'm saying. It's like oh my god, it's like Jesus Christ, and then you got this Red Dead Redemption talking about they put in like hundreds of hours a day, and then you saw the gameplay trailers. No, yo, look, that game is gonna be on a lot of people's Game of the Year list. And it hasn't even come out yet. It's about to come out in a few days.
I mean, you got to think about it. It's a Rockstar game. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, Rockstar is no slouch when it comes to making games. I mean, you look at GTA 5. It's 2018, and GTA 5 is still a top 10 game as far as sales, or like top 20 game as far as sales. And, and I was talking about this before. I'm like, that's one game that is so good, it can't have crossplay. If that game ever has crossplay between PS4, PC, and Xbox One,
it's a wrap.
It's not even
hell on earth.
It's not even a wrap. It's just that Rockstar will not be able to make a GTA 6 because everybody will be on GTA 5.
Exactly. You can't. If anything, I'll be fine with it. Fuck it. Don't make a GTA 6. Still all the money, man.
I mean, the game is that good. I'm with you. I agree with you. I'm right here with you 100%. But I'm just saying, that just goes to show you how well Rockstar has been putting their games out. And the thing about Rockstar, they don't make. I'm gonna be honest with you. Rockstar has never been in the business of making high quality games. I think Red Dead Redemption is probably like the first game that's actually high quality. Rockstar has always been in the business of making good and fun games. You look at all the stuff that. You look at all the Grand Theft Autos. The look of the game's been wonky at best. GTA 4 does look good, but it still had that weird looking wonky look. It wasn't like a polished game. You look at GTA 5. GTA 5 has not been like that polished game, but it's just the things you can do in that game was like amazing. Now, when I say polished, you look at a game like a game that just looks gorgeous, like really look good. That's what I mean by polished. GTA 5 was never like that polished game until it got on PC and it got the 4K, the true 4K assets.
I agree, because I had the 360 version of the game. Like, yo, it did not look this fucking good.
No, that's what I'm saying. And even with the 360 and the PS3, but I had the game for the PS3. The game don't look good, but I'll be damned if the game's not fun as shit. You know what I'm saying? It's so much shit you can do in GTA 5 or GTA 4 or any other Grand Theft Auto. There's so much stuff you can do in those games. You don't really even care about the graphics.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like with Red Dead Redemption is like that really first game where they're like really putting in that time for the game to look beautiful. I mean, even Red Dead Redemption, the first one looked good for the 360.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But that never was Rockstar focus. Their focus was like, look, we're going to let you get in the sandbox. We're going to let you do whatever. You can get some hookers. You can shoot people. You can run people over with a car. You can take this car. You can fly a plane. You can fly a helicopter. You can swim. You can go underwater. You can parachute. It's so much shit you can do in it. People don't even care about, okay, this game looks subpar.
No, because there's too much stuff you can do in the game, legit.
Right.
I mean, like you said, yo, if they, good lord, good lord, if they made crossplay. Hell, God
I
knows
don't
if
think they'll do it. I don't think they'll do it. But I'm just saying,
I wouldn't do it either.
if they made crossplay for GTA 5, I mean, you see the game like Skyrim. Everybody is still on Skyrim. People are asking why you don't make a sequel to Skyrim, because everybody is still playing Skyrim. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's that other game on PC? Counter Strike.
Well, Counter Strike. Yeah, you're right. Counter Strike.
Counter Strike has been around since like the 2000s or the early 2000s. You go on Steam right now, people are still playing Counter Strike like it's the best game ever. They have esports for that game. You wonder why they don't make a sequel to that? Why? You still got millions and millions of people still playing the other one. And they could make another one if they wanted to, which I don't care for right now. You got Insurgency right now.
Hell, man, people still playing fucking Half-Life, man.
Exactly.
Hell, I got Half-Life been playing this shit like, yo, this shit is crazy. No wonder why they not making a third one.
Right. Exactly.
It's just like what can you bring that the second and first one couldn't bring?
It's not only that, they could probably do so much because these people have ideas and they're very creative. They're devs for a reason. But if you have everybody still playing your game, why even stop? Exactly. You know what I mean? Why stop supporting it when everybody's still playing it?
There's no reason to.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Left 4 Dead.
That's another one.
I mean, I mean, you got all these mods and shit going on with Left 4 Dead 2. It's like, why make a third at this point? So
yeah, you know. I mean, look, Left 4 Dead. I got it on Steam. I haven't touched it, but every time I look up and I go to the store page, you know, you see the little forums and people are still doing great things with that game.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yo, people made I got some of the mods where they did the Predator and they got Alien on it as specific hunters. I'm like, yo, there's no way I'm not downloading this. It's impossible for me not downloading this. And then you got all the character skins and stuff like that. Hell, I think you can still do 8-player co-op.
Yeah.
On Left 4 Dead, it's like, what?
That's crazy. So I mean, it just does to show you, like, when you make a quality game, people are they're gonna gravitate to it. Red Dead Redemption 2 is not gonna be any exception to the rule. People are gonna buy that game. People are gonna hell. I even bought it. I mean, I got it pre-ordered already. So
I'm going to as well.
Yeah. So it's already what's happening. I'm just waiting. I'm gonna play it on my PS4. Then I'm gonna turn around and probably get it on PC because I think it's gonna come out on PC as well.
It will next year, from what I hear.
Yeah, I heard it too. So
yeah, next year you got that. I mean, hell. All these games is just gonna be so fucking crazy with this upcoming in November. December, you got Smash Bros coming out for the Switch. If anybody want it, you got Cyberpunk, which is supposed to be coming out soon. I can't wait for that, and I can't wait for Red Dead.
Listen,
this shit about to be lit.
Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be a really, really good game. I watched that entire in-game footage that they had. That game was awesome.
That shit is...
I watched the first 5 minutes of it. I was like, nah, I gotta get this. I'm buying it.
Everybody probably saying this.
I saw it. I don't too much care for The Witcher 3, but CD Projekt Red did their thing with this one. It's an automatic cop for me.
Oh, my lord, I agree. Yo, the fact that they said this game had no loading screens, and when you looked at the city, I'm like, good fucking lord, how much hours did you put in?
I'm ready for it. I'm be honest. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. But I think that's going to be the end of the podcast. I think we're going to close it up with that. Anything else you want to add before we finish?
I mean, not much. Just keep on staying tuned to the podcast. I mean, whether I'm here or not, you already know the main three that's gonna be here. Just stay listening to the podcast. That's it.
Hey man, I appreciate you coming through, man. I mean, absolutely. Know people want you here for a minute, and just timing and all this other stuff going on. But absolutely, you can always catch us on iTunes, SoundCloud, whatever the case may be. YouTube, you can catch us on YouTube as well. You can put it in your podcast app where you can subscribe there, and you can automatically download to your your own personal podcast app, and you can listen to us on the go. You don't have to worry about data usage. Just download and listen to us whenever. And that's pretty much it, man. All I ask for you guys to listen, subscribe, and big things are going to come. I promise you. We're just going to continue to bring this content
uncensored.
to you. Once again. Yeah, uncensored.
Uncensored, no holds barred. We don't get paid.
All the time.
We don't.
We just
for
do
fun.
what we do. And yeah, so I really appreciate you coming through one more time, man. And the doors is open anytime you want to come in.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Every second, every minute, every hour y'all spend with us is every second, every minute, every hour we're grateful for, because you could be listening or you could be looking at anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we finish, let everybody know. Where
you can find me on Twitch, Spectacular Pooh 2414. You can find me on Twitter, Spec Pooh Eagles. Hell, you can even find me on Discord if y'all want to add me on Discord. 1 minute, I gotta get rid of this. Okay, there's that. My Discord user is Pooh #9189. So if y'all want to add me from there, y'all want to communicate from there, we can definitely do that.
All right, man. That sounds good. And you know where you can find me at? You can find me here on Twitter at VFBaller. You can find me here on the YouTube channel. Find me on the First of Framesrates podcast, iTunes, SoundCloud. All that links, everything will be in the description for me and for Pooh. And we'll just catch you guys next time. Peace.